All right, so welcome back. So happy to be back for our second series of the Sefer Tomer Devorah. Thank you for joining us. So a friend reached out to me and she says, I was at the first class. I don't think I could do this. I think it's just too hard. I think what you're asking, I'm like, I'm not asking. This is what we're learning. You know, the Ramak is telling us. She's like, I don't think it's doable. I don't think it was written for people in our century. I think it was written for people before us who had the people in the Holocaust, what they went through. Could we have gone through it? No, I don't think it's doable for our generation. So I said, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with Casual Fridays? She's like, who? I said, Casual Fridays. The industry was looking for a new way of bringing out more, like a new clothing line. So they came up with this concept of Casual Fridays that you can now go to the office on Friday dressed casually. You don't have to come in a suit. You can just, wind down and wear comfort clothing. She's like, okay, what does that have to do with my question? I said, the same thing that hats have to do with your question. She's like, okay. I said, do you know that in the Western culture, it's respectful to remove your hat? But by the Frum people, it's respectful to wear a hat. I mean, the taller it is, think of the Streimels nowadays, then they're just growing and growing. We cut our nails differently. We put on our shoes differently. Right shoe first, left shoe second, tie the left shoe one, then go back to the right one. Our entire being and our entire existence is different. Casual Fridays leads up to the weekend. If you are just in casual wear the entire weekend and never even get dressed, you're just in pajamas the whole time, that's a successful weekend. Look at us. What Shabbos means to us. We are different in every sense of the word. Maybe they can't do it. Maybe it's too hard for them. But for us, where we come from, what our parents, grandparents, what we have been through, we have the ability, we have the strength. There's no such thing that it's too difficult for us. Is it hard? Yeah, it's hard. But this was written for us in our generation. Because we can do it. Because we're different. So Perek Gimel. V'oiver al pesha. He removes iniquity. This is a great attribute, for Hashem's forgiveness is not granted by means of any intermediary. He himself forgives the sin, as is written, forgiveness is with you. So technically, Hashem could say, 1 second, you just did an Aveira? Well, good luck with that. No, he stays with us. He wants us to do tshuva. He helps us to do tshuva. He wants us to come back to him and do the right thing. It's like when you're getting ready to go to a wedding, right? And you finally get there, and then your son takes like sushi, piles his plate with sushi, and then, takes like the spicy mayo, and you're like, oh my, you're gonna get that all over your shirt. And he's like, no, I'm not, and then eats it. And of course, you're watching spicy mayo drip down his shirt, right? And so what do? You try to help him clean it off, even though you warned him about it. He should be cleaning it off on his own, but no. We take him, we try to help him clean it off. And then when we get home, we spray it, we soak it, we wash it, and he gets back a perfectly clean garment. And Hashem is saying, I know that you got yourself dirty. I know that you did what you didn't want to do, but I'm here for you. I want to help you. I want to clean you, right? So I had this neighbor, she lived directly across the street from me. She had a large family, and we would wave in the morning when we were waiting for the bus. And she always had this baby on her hip. And I couldn't look at the baby. It was too painful. The baby was covered in eczema. It was so painful. They were like open wounds. She used to put him on gloves so that he shouldn't scratch himself. It was his skin, his hands, his legs. It was so painful to watch. Anyway, it's like before Pesach, over Pesach, I don't see her for a long time. And then finally, a couple of weeks later, I see her standing outside again with her little son. So I cross over and I'm like, hi, I did not see you in a long time. I'm so happy to see you again. So she says, well, there's a reason why you didn't see me in a long time. She says, Shavia, it was Erev Pesach. Everybody was home. Everybody was off from school. There was so much to do. We needed to turn over the kitchen. We needed to kasher. And my son was in so much agony. I couldn't watch it. He was screaming in agony. So I actually called the doctor. I have his emergency phone number. I reached out to him and I'm like, you need to tell me what to do for my son. I can't watch this. And he said, where is the closest water? So she's like, Seagate? He's like, take your son to the water and be there for a couple of hours and you'll see it'll bring some relief to him. So she says, I had no choice. So I pack up some food. I go to Seagate. It's Erev Yantiv. My phone doesn't stop ringing. The kids are calling and calling and calling. They need their mother home. And I'm sitting at the water with my son because he needs relief, because he's in agony. And it suddenly dawned on me, 1 second, he's not the one being punished. I am. And as I sat there in the water with this craziness and chaos going on at home, I started to think, what have I done? I really wanted to go back to my past and see, like, why was this happening? What was this message? Was I getting the message? Was I reading the message? I felt like it had something to do with externals because his face was like peeling and bleeding. And I just couldn't come up with anything. And so I started davening. And I begged Hashem to help me, that whatever it is that I need to rectify, he should help me, because I really, really want to do tshuva. So it's Chol Pesach, and we go to a park. Now this park is it's very centrally located. So it's like near Muncie, near Lakewood, near Bar Park, which means that all of Klal Yisrael was there. So all you see is like tuna, matzah, and people wearing black and white. And in this mass of people, I turn around and there's somebody standing there and she's looking at me and I'm looking at her and we're like, you look so familiar. So my neighbor says, I look at her and I'm like, I can't place it, but I feel like I know you. And this woman looks at me and she says, oh, really? So now you see me? My neighbor was so taken aback. She's like, I'm sorry, but what do you mean? So she says, oh, well, let me tell you something. Do you remember when we were in second grade? She says, do you know that I lived in Israel and I had to move here because my father needed chemo and I came kicking and screaming because I didn't know anyone, and they put me into your class and they told me that you are going into a classroom with a wonderful person, a sweetheart of a person, and she'll be your friend, don't worry. She says, do you know that I came to school every single day and you never saw me? It was as if I had no face. I would stand next to you. I was desperate. My parents were in the hospital all the time. I was so alone. I so badly needed somebody just to see me. And it was too hard. And I begged my parents to send me back because I was told that you're the nicest girl in the class. And if you don't even see me, then I must be invisible. And so they sent me back. And it was really hard. And it took a real toll on my self-esteem because I felt like I was just an invisible person, like I had no face. My neighbor says she's standing there and she says, Shavy, you know what the worst part was? She's right! I didn't even remember her name. Like, I recognized her vaguely, but I couldn't even picture that. She's right, she was invisible. She's right, she had no face. And that's when it suddenly dawned on me. My son, with this terrible pain on his face, that was a message for me. And so I asked her for forgiveness right then and there, Chol Pesach. And she said, I don't know. Can I really forgive you? I don't know. You caused me too much pain. I came home. I'd gotten her phone number. I called her again. She still wasn't ready to forgive. I begged Hashem to open her heart to forgiveness. I called her again, and she still wasn't there, not in a place of forgiveness. And I looked at my son with his peeling, bleeding face. And I strapped him into his car seat. And I drove all the way to her house, and I rang her bell. And I told her, I got what I deserve. And now I'm asking you, please forgive me. And that's when she forgave me. Hashem says in this midah, I want you to do tshuva. I am going to help you. I am going to send you signs. I am going to, in a mass where there are hundreds of people that all look the same, I am going to place the one person that you need to meet right near you, because he wants us to do tshuva. What if maybe we caused somebody pain, but that person deserved it? They caused me pain. It was not okay what they did. What if they wronged me? So years and years ago, there was a study that they were looking to conduct, that scientists were looking to conduct on monkeys. When they were first discovered in India, they came across this very interesting phenomenon that they were not expecting. They couldn't conduct any studies because they couldn't catch the monkeys. The monkeys were too smart. And no matter what they did, no matter how many traps they put out, no matter how much food they put into the traps, no matter what type of nets they used, the monkeys would outwit them, and they just could not catch the monkeys. Until one scientist came up with a great idea. He created a small hole in the ground. He dug this hole in the ground, and at the bottom of the hole, he put food. And he did this in several areas. And then they moved back, and they watched as the monkeys came forward, smelled the food that was in the ground, stuck their hand down to get the food, but now their hand had gone in narrow, but now their hand was wide as it was holding the food. And so they were stuck, and they couldn't take their hand out of the ground, and they were caught. And the scientists were coming forward with nets ready to trap them. And they're watching as the monkeys are getting all hysterical. They know exactly what's going on. They see that they're about to get trapped, and they start talking to each other, and they start getting very, very agitated. And these scientists are saying, just let go! Just let go and you'll be free. Open your hand and let go and you'll be free. But they couldn't. And that's how they caught the monkeys. And I sometimes wonder, are we behaving like monkeys? Do we hold on to that anger and that resentment and that pain and that hurt? And it's real. The pain is real and the hurt is real. But are we choosing to hold on to it? Or can we choose to emulate Hashem with his compassion and daven so that he can help us let go? So Midah Daled, L'she'eris Nachalasai, the fourth attribute, to the remnants of his inheritance. HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts towards Bnei Yisrael in this way, saying, what shall I do with Bnei Yisrael? They are my relatives, with whom I have a close relationship. Bnei Yisrael are like HaKadosh Baruch Hu's spouse. Furthermore, he calls them my daughter, my sister, my mother. So a few years ago, I was invited to spearhead this program called Project Rise, which stands for Raising Inherent Standards Every Day. And what we did was we invited everybody in the fashion industry that's within our community to get together. So we had designers get together, manufacturers, store owners. It was set up in this beautiful place. We had over 200 people attend. I welcomed the crowd, and I reminded them the power that they have in our community, the clothing that they design, the items that they sell in the stores. Is that what we're going to be wearing, what our daughters will be wearing? And then we had Tali get up and speak. Tali was a designer for some very major brands. And this is what she said. She said, out there in the fashion world, the crazier you are, the more you're respected. She says they wear wacky things. They have these crazy tattoos. The crazier and more insane things that you can come up with, the more you're respected. You know who they hate? They hate the Jews. Openly! They openly despise and look down at spit when they speak about the Jews. You know why? Because they understand. They understand who we are. That we are Hashem's children, His daughter, His wife, His spouse. They know that. And I sometimes wonder, do we know that? Or are we busy pursuing them, even though they despise us? And Hashem is saying here that the reason why I will forgive and the reason why we should forgive is for no other reason that we are all part of one soul. We're all HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children, wife, spouse. We're all connected. So people will be people. But who am I? Who do I want to be? Who do we want to be?
You know, when you look in the mirror at the end of the day, what do I want to see reflected back to me?
Right.
And I think this one ties in to how we started, which is it too hard? It might be too hard for them, but is it too hard for us? Like we hold ourselves to a different standard.
Right. So it may be hard, but it's doable. We can all do it. You know, but I want to say something. I was involved in a project, and one of the biggest success of the project was that we decided at the end of the project to finish it off with a kumsitz. Like that was the idea that I had, because they were going to say, I think we should give everybody a gift and let everybody just leave. And I said, no, let's create something. How about we have a kumsitz and we build a fire and we sing together. You know, it was only women. Anyway, it was extremely, extremely successful. And we had a meeting about it. And at the meeting, it was brought up that I have to say that I think the most successful part of the entire day was the kumsitz. And a woman sitting across me said, that was my idea. And I was like, excuse me, that was my idea. She's like, what? What are you talking about? It was my idea. I'm like, no. That was my idea. And then I'm thinking to myself, let her take the credit. Exactly. But here they were like, that was the bit. Right, you know. But I would have liked, it's hard. It's hard.
I need justice. Like, no, it's not right. It's not yashrus. It's not how it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we cook it and it's
right.
Imagine if you can forego yashrus in these kids or letting someone else
take the credit.
The prize.
Right.